Yo, it's my birthday, which means that it's time for my annual birthday dance. Yo!
My apologies, but you will not be seeing the end of that video. For too many years I've been watching you play these pathetic games, and I thought this year you deserved a real challenge. But as the challenge has increased, so must the stakes. I have planted a bomb, and in 1 hour it will detonate, destroying you and the very building in which you reside. Do not bother trying to escape. It's too late.
Listen, everyone, just stay calm. Get changed into the party outfit for the whole dance thing, but I heard that madman's message.
Right on cue, our dear meddling host. Do not worry, he'll be returned to you in time. His intervention is very much required. He will undoubtedly fill your minds with tales. My suggestion? Give in now. Spend the next hour of your life living to the fullest before it is stuffed. Resistance is only building the path for disappointment. I'll be in touch with you again. Friend is about to make his first mistake.
Don't worry, I was ready for this. I've already found the bomb down here in the basement. I just need to attach this bypass cable, and I'll have it defused in no time.
Not so fast, Hit. That was not the diffusal circuit. Yes, you have wired into the bomb, but all you have done is activated the timer. And now your only hope is to break the ciphers one by one. Not in an hour. Not with all of you combining your puny intellects together.
He's right. I should have known it wouldn't be that simple. Listen, just hang tight. Whatever this madman has planned for us, we'll get through it together. I have some defusal kits, I'll crack them out and we'll sort this out. Just stay calm, stay where you are. Come back, alright? Just hang tight.
I have no idea how long I've been waiting for this moment. Now I have you all trapped in my vice, I get to watch you squirm and wiggle. I'll be seeing you all in a bit. Bits over there, bits over there, bits and pieces all over everywhere. Squirm, worms, squirm. That I've been planning this for a long time. I've even compromised your defusal kits. Don't worry, your cipher wheels are perfectly fine. But you may find that I have left some additional ciphers hidden within your collection. But do not be hasty. There's no way you can solve them without breaking further ciphers first. the second cipher. 4 codes are presented here, but I fear you lack even the basic skills necessary to crack this childish code. After all, your classical studies have been long overlooked. Et tu, Brutus? If you believe you broke the second cipher so easily, well, may I introduce you to my third? I'm sure you'll have no difficulty deciphering this one. After all, you're all very intelligent for worms. Welcome to my 4th cipher. This is where you will stumble. You think you're so smart, but you haven't even figured out the secret of your decoder wheel, have you? No, I didn't think so. You're as dull and dim-witted as the rest of them. Welcome to my 5th cipher. It's not too late to give up and enjoy your last few moments. You don't stand the shadow of a chance. Tick, tick, tick. Find the one, but don't forget about the bomb. Go on, take a guess. Just one wrong code. It's all over for you. Final shape, and your final chance to prove how slow and dull-witted you are. I do not envy those who have to sit and tolerate your company. If I were them, I'd be purposefully sabotaging the cipher just to make sure you all go boom. I got so bored watching you all desperately try to decipher my bomb that I took up songwriting. Here, I've been working on a little ditty for you. Personally, I think it would sound better with fewer notes. But then you have no appreciation for classical music, do you? You lack the ear and the brain. Welcome to Cipher 7. If you have worked through my ciphers successfully up to this point, then you already have everything that you need. But I'm not going to hold your hand on this one. You'll have to connect the dots yourself. Good luck. Careful now. Even one misplaced code and the bomb will detonate. You'd better be very certain about this. Check the time. Can you go back? Can you take one last glimpse at the clues? Do you have the time? Do you have the mind? Embrace your failure. Go on, do it. Submit your ciphers, if you dare. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, I knew you couldn't do it, you pathetic little worms. Well, that's all from me, and all from this life for you. Bye-bye. Impossible! You couldn't have broken the ciphers. There must be a bug or some sort of glitch in the code. Fine. It doesn't seem that you win this round. Somehow you managed to find a cell between the lot of you. But mark my words, this is not the last you have seen of me. I will return, and when I do, things will not be so simple. I'll have you crawling in the mud like worms once again just to see you squirm. Until then, farewell, worms!
So, you're having difficulty playing the game. Well, don't worry, it was meant to be played in my enviable presence. So, here's my hints for every single one of the ciphers, and of course the solutions, just in case you're not quite sure where you went wrong. Or right. Sometimes you can guess. Let's start with the basics. If you haven't already, you're going to need your cipher defusal kit and a pen. If you haven't got these, then you're really in trouble. Make sure you follow the instructions carefully when you assemble your cipher wheel to make sure that the crow lines up with A on the reverse side. If you haven't done that, your wheel won't work. Some general gameplay tips then. First, there are times when you'll need to turn the wheel, and there are times when you won't need to turn the wheel. If you can tell those two times apart, you're going to have a much better time. If you work through the ciphers in order, you will build upon your previous skill set, so you might learn something from redoing an earlier cipher that'll help you to solve a later cipher. That said, you can go backward and forward as much as you like. If you're keeping time, as long as you've got time left on the clock, you can keep going back to old ciphers and then forward to new ones again. My next tip, wherever you see two symbols together at the end of one of the challenges, that's telling you which symbols to read off the decoder wheel. They'll always give you a position, letter, then number. Anything else is a trick. Finally, while your cipher defusal key may be single use, that doesn't mean you can't write notes on scrap pieces of paper. As long as this is right, that's all that matters. Take notes. And of course, keep an eye out for false codes. The ciphers will always be letter number. If you find one that's number letter, 2 letters or 2 numbers, it's clearly a distraction. Okay, cipher 1. If you've printed off the kit, you'll have this small piece of paper with additional clues on. My first hint, don't try and solve these right now. You'll know how to solve them once you've solved the cipher to which they associate. Assuming you've been forward and you've solved all those other ciphers and you still aren't quite sure how to do this, well, the first code corresponds to cipher 4, the second code corresponds to cipher 3, and the final code corresponds to cipher 2. To solve the first one of these ciphers, you just follow the same process as with cipher 4. To solve the second cipher, you need to go back to that hidden animals grid and find which ones there are 2 of. To solve the third cipher, unlike previous ones in that chain, it does not rely on you solving the math equation all the way down. Instead, use the alternative side of the decoder wheel to find the numbers. The solutions for the first cipher are A2, C5, and F5. Cipher 2 then. This is the one I call maths. You have a bunch of equations here and, well, at first glance, this is nonsense. But of course, thanks to the decoder wheel, this nonsense becomes something a bit more tangible. Let's take a look at the first equation. Frog equals 1. Well, perhaps this hint will be what unlocks the rest for you. If we find the frog on the wheel and we turn it to the number 1, now when we look at the following 2 symbols, spaghetti monster is A and shrimp is 3. That's your first solution. The trick. You must now solve the second equation with the wheel in this position. So on and so forth. The solutions for cipher 2, naturally, frog is frog, that's A3. The second results in dragon being in position 1, which gives us B7. For the third, spider moves to position 1, which gives us E5. Then finally, cow moves to position 1, giving us G2. Siphon 3 is what I call the hidden picture challenge. You have a grid of animals, and it's your job to figure out how that corresponds to the clues below. You have the grid, some numbers, and the pairs of codes to read off the wheel. How could those numbers possibly correspond to the grid of animals? It's not a trick, or a distraction. If you look closely, there are certain numbers of animals on the board. Perhaps if you start counting the different types, you might be able to find a solution. What you're looking for with this cipher is to find the number of animals that corresponds with the clue. For example, there are 3 otters. If otter moved to position 3, what might that get you? If you can work that out, you can solve the rest of this clue by yourself. The solutions for Cipher 3, bearing in mind there are some tricks in this one. There are 4 fish, giving us A1, 5 crows, giving us B3, 3 otters, giving us F7, and 6 shrimp, giving us G1. Cipher 4 introduces the secret of the decoder wheel. Of course, if you made your own decoder wheels, you've probably already seen the underside. Perhaps that is enough to get you to solve this cipher on your own. Looking at the first clue then, if we find the frog on our decoder wheel and look underneath, we can see that it says D. If we move the frog to position D, we can now read the solution. You can now crack this by yourself. The solutions for Cipher 4 are A7 for the frog, B5 for the crow, E2 for the cow, and F6 for the spaghetti monster. Cipher 5 presents a new challenge. There are some shapes on the screen, and all you have to do is find the correct shape that exactly matches the one in the middle of the screen. Of course, then you have to know how to find the code on the wheel. You'll note that there's no instructions of turning, so there must be some other way you can get the code combination. Over the entirety of Cipher 5, you're going to be shown 4 puzzles, of which there are 4 answers to each puzzle, but only one of those answers is correct, and every single one does have a correct answer, and only one correct answer. Assuming you can find that shape, you're going to have to use your decoder wheel and match the corresponding symbols on the underside. For example, for Cipher 5, if I thought the solution was dragon spaghetti, which is the left-handmost one, dragon is C, spaghetti is 3. But is that the right shape? The solutions for Cipher 5, A6, crow hippo, which is the second option. For the second shape, the correct answer is C7, dragon cricket. For the third shape, the correct answer is shrimp otter, E1. And for the fourth shape, the correct answer is spider noodle, G3. Cipher 6 does require you to be able to read sheet music. Hopefully you know the mnemonics and antonyms and all sorts of stuff that you may have learned in school. If you didn't or don't remember, pull up a sheet music reference card so that you know which one is which. You can't really solve this one without that. In order to solve this one, you're going to need to know which notes are appropriate. You're looking for 4 answers, so you only need 4 notes. Is there a clue that could tell you which 4 notes are correct? If you listen to the madman's speech again, you'll note he plays the ditty a second time. Find the notes, and you'll find the ones that correspond to the codes. But Anthony, you say, the codes don't make any sense. I'm looking at my wheel, and none of these make actual real codes. It might be that you need to make a rotation before reading the symbols. I wonder how you could possibly know where you're supposed to rotate the wheel to, based on the note that was played. Let's say that A was a correct note. If we look at our cipher wheel, using the secret, we can search desperately for A, which is crow, turn crow to A, and then read the code. The solution for cipher 6 is FDAC. F, otter frog, is A5, D, dog dragon, is B1, A, kiwi dragon, is F2, and C, fish kiwi, is G7. Cipher 7, the madman's last trick. No ciphers on this one and no decoding. He says you have everything that you need as long as you've got all the previous ciphers correctly, and you must have them in hand. What could his clues mean? If you haven't already, make sure you go back and solve those Cipher 1 clues. If you've done the others, you should be able to solve them now. In principle, you should only have 2 things in hand, other than your pen. Well, there's nothing to decode here, so we can get rid of the wheel. That only leaves 1 hint. Perhaps there's a way we can use this to find the final 2 ciphers. In the madman's speech, he said you'd have to connect the dots yourself. Well, if I were to come in with my pen and connect the dots, maybe that gives me a solution. If you've connected the dots, well, you might just see a couple shapes showing up here. Looks like you've got a C4 and a C2, but this C doesn't look right, does it? Well, if we assume that C2 is correct... Oh, well that adds a new dot. I'd better connect it up. It's not a C, it's a D. D4? Well, that's the center square. If you've got 25 dots and it looks like this, you win. If it doesn't, you lose.